Hello, I am George Ford, and I am the creator of Addanac City, and you are here with me today with Daniel Barton on the Webcomic Show.
Hi, I'm Mike Hearn. I'm the creator of Walter the Wicked, www.walterthewicked.com, and you're watching the Webcomic Show.
It's 2014, and welcome to the winter edition of the Webcomic Show.
Webcomic Show!
On the show, I talked to Mike Hearn of Walter the Wicked and George Ford of Addanac City. In December, I helped the webcomic Underdogs with their Kickstarter. Here's a small segment of that interview. I'm talking to Michael and Marissa. Welcome to the Webcomic Show.
Hello.
Thank you very much for having us.
Awesome to have you. Could you guys please explain what this Kickstarter is about?
Basically, it's a collection of stories and art from some of our members at Webcomic Underdogs. And we have about how many members?
450-ish and growing.
In the anthology?
Oh, in the anthology. It's about 8 people, give or take.
And they're really talented. They're really talented groups, so we're really excited to showcase their work in this anthology.
I received the book Cookies and Comics by Lynn Andrews. The book starts out with the line, "Once upon a time in an evil bakery. Make sure and order Cookies and Comics." And here's me opening the package. Okay, so I got this package from Lynn. I'm going to open it now. It's been too long. I just haven't had time to open it yet and film it on camera. So this is what you get if you order the Cookies and Comics. Very nice. Very cool. Thanks again, Lynn. Bye-bye. So I finished my 200th comic of Goober and Cindy. And to celebrate that, I've started a contest. So anyone commenting on the 200th comic is a contestant. And they will be winning a free sketch by me. Well, here we go. I got the names in here. I'm going to just read out some of the contestants. We got Tony McGurk. We've got Wouter, Mike Hearn, Bill Murphy, Denny Fink. What else we got here? We got Julian, David Hurley, Joseph, Tony McGurk. He's in there twice. He needs to be in there once. We got Binky, and we have Mark Stokes. So I'm going to put all these in here. Do a little bit of this. I'm not looking which one is which. A little bit of shuffling. And our winner is Denny Fink. Congratulations. You're going to get a free sketch by me. I want to thank all of you that read my comic and commented on the 200th. Okay, so now on to the interviews.
Webcomic Show with Daniel Barton. And we're live, bringing something new to you, something unbelievable, something never before seen on the Webcomic Show today. Are you prepared? Are you ready? The inevitable, the unbelievable Daniel Barton featuring George Ford, creator of Addanac City. And we're here right now. I make comics every single day Sometimes it seems like it never ever pays. But I do it for the passion, thrashing, clashing, everybody vote reggae. I'm asking, do you read? Do you like comics? Do you really want it? I give it to you daily basis. I draw little silly character faces. I do not trace this.
Awesome.
Sorry about that.
No, that was awesome.
You just influenced me with the music. I like that.
I'm going to tell you what, we're going to do another song next, aside from this show. You can send me some lyrics, and I'll put some new tunes to that. That was awesome. You just freestyle.
And I'm sorry about that. It was just straight off the head freestyle.
Awesome. I'm interviewing a webcomic extraordinaire. He updates 7 days a week. George Ford, welcome to the Webcomic Show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Daniel. Glad to be here.
Awesome to have you. Tell me the story of how you thought up the names of your characters.
Well, I originally created Addanac City back in 1992. This was before the internet was really even something to be considered. Nobody had computers. Typewriters were everywhere. And I wanted to come up with a name for a series, but I hated thinking that, well, if I invest all this time, energy, and everything into promoting my new comic, and then find out down the line that somebody else has the same name, and I'll feel really bad getting sued and everything and just being totally invested. So I said, let me see if I can come up with a title that nobody else would even contemplate having. And I had a friend of mine, his name was Tim Canada. Hey, Tim, shout out. But his name was Tim Canada, and I always messed around. I would call people by their names backwards. So I always called him Mitt Addanac all the time. So when I thought of it, I need a series title. I just basically pulled it out of a hat and said, I'll just use Addanac. That'll be good. And I had several reasons for doing that, because when I had my comic strip series and a line of comic books at the time, everything was listed in alphabetical order. Yes. So when I wanted to have my comic on the shelf, I figured, well, they're putting them all in the A's, and I figured, well, it starts out with A.
That's smart.
I'll have prime placement when everybody's looking.
Yeah.
And it also helps now, even with people listening on the internet with comics they like and things like that, because mostly it's alphabetical order. So Addanac City's at the top.
So what challenges has the webcomic brought to you?
Well, it's taught me discipline, because I used to do my comic strip for the newspaper, and I did that until I got disinterested, or politics or whatever. So when I decided to do a web comic for real, my wife inspired me to do that, because I would send her little strips like, hey, look at this, you like that? She's like, why don't you do something with it? Put it on the website. And I was like, I don't know anything about putting a website together. I mean, I'll try, but I put it out there, and I said, well, let me see if I can keep it up. The main thing I was concerned with was, if I put this out and I make this promise, do I have what it takes? I think that's what all of us webcomic creators, we are looking at. I've got the brilliant idea. I've got the best thing out there. These companies don't know what they're doing. They ignored me. I've got what it takes. But we just don't have the avenue to put it out. But with what's going on nowadays, anybody can put out something or have an opportunity to display their work and just see what happens. You've got YouTube sensations. You got people coming out and putting out their own music. So I figured, well, if I have what it takes, maybe I can just showcase my stuff, and maybe something will happen. And maybe nothing will, but I can't do it stuffing everything in the drawers.
What are your influences for your comic?
Oh, man, I'll go way back. My first comics experiences have been, I used to read Archie, Richie Rich. I mean, everybody hates on Garfield, but mostly all of us started out, we were reading it when we were kids. So a lot of that Peanuts, and even with Maury Turner, who passed away a few days ago, he was an influence. And what I've been surprised by is we have better access to the creators now through social media. When I would just read somebody's comic, and I didn't know who they were or what they were doing or where they lived. They weren't anybody. They were just, all you really saw was the artwork and the results and the products that they produced. So I was getting influences from everywhere. I read superhero comics, and I knew almost since I got to this earth that I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to draw pictures and write stories, and growing up as an only child, I had to entertain myself. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Virginia, no cable TV. There was no internet back then, so I had to draw pictures and read comics. And I decided that's what I want to do.
What
When I
kind of
grow up, I'm gonna read comics, draw comics.
what kind of tools do you use to create your comics?
Well, mainly I'm still a pen and paper guy. I'm still drawing on Bristol board, poster board. I still pencil, pen and ink, and then I scan into the computer, and then I use the computer for coloring and mainly just for coloring. But I'm still a pen and paper hardcore guy like that.
You mentioned
I would love to get into the tablet.
You mentioned social media. What's your favorite social media to use to promote your comic?
I found Twitter to be useful, but it's one of those disposable medias. Once it's passed by, unless you get people to share it, and that's where when you get into webcomics, the camaraderie and the teamwork and efforts of the other folks who are creating, they help out a lot, and we all support each other. You can't just be the big dog on the roof and expect to just reach great new heights without having the support of other people. And I have a great support team, and I try to be there to support the other creators that are out there, because it's hard to get in when you're there. I remember when I first started mine, I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know what webcomics were. I knew there were comic strips on the computer, but that was about all I knew.
When I first started making webcomics, you were one of the first people that I saw that were creating comics. So you were pretty big.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you were on all the sites and commenting everywhere, and I've always noticed that you've been around for a long time. Going back to creating the webcomic, how long does it take you to create one webcomic?
Well, I break my process down. Usually, here's how it goes. Generally, Monday through Friday, during the weekdays, I rely mostly on coming up with ideas, strip concepts, things I'll just encounter from listening to my kids, talking to my wife. I'm a pretty silly guy 24/7. So everybody gets irritated half the time because I'm the kind of guy that never takes anything seriously. I'll laugh in church, at a funeral. When you fall down the steps, I'm the guy that can think of something that's like, oh, man, I can use that for a comic strip idea. So I try not to force it or feel like, oh, I've got to come up with an idea. Oh, I got to go home and I've got to draw it. Then I got to color it. Then I have to put it out. So Monday through Fridays are generally, I try to come up with some ideas. When I think of something, I'll jot it down and I'll say, okay, I have that. Mainly when I get off work on Friday evenings, I say, okay, let me put this up and get everything set out on a template and do the dialogue and just have the comic strips ready. Now, usually by the end of the week, I'll have maybe 8 or 9, maybe even on a good week, maybe about 14 ideas. And then I'll just print those out and I'll do my hand drawing for everything. And then I'll ink them, then I'll scan them back in. And then throughout the next week will be mainly coloring whenever I get the chance or feel like it. Because for me, coloring is therapeutic. I can relax when I color.
Okay. How long does it take you just to draw one strip?
I draw relatively fast. I can say if I'm penciling, if I have a strip, a 3-panel comic before me and I'm penciling it, I can probably finish in like 5 minutes. Wow. And then it usually takes maybe another 10 minutes to ink because I try to take my time with that. So I can, during the weekends, my wife she'll look like, how many comics did you make? And I can have anywhere between 7 to 14 comic strips penciled and inked and ready to color by the end of Sunday night.
Okay.
So that means I get a lot of accumulate because I really only need 5 new ones for the week. So I have a pretty good stockpile buffer going on.
All right. We have the speed round now of questions. Who's your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
Awesome. Most famous person you've ever seen or met?
I would say that would have to be speed round. I had a chance to meet Rob Liefeld, however you want to pronounce it. It wasn't a great experience, but he was the most famous person I ever had a chance to just, hey, how you doing? I'm all right.
Awesome. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I appreciate Star Wars. I'm going to get killed. Not a huge fan, but I do appreciate the genre and the whole mythos around it.
And the first movie you ever saw in the theater?
Cannonball Run.
Awesome. George, thank you for coming on the Webcomic Show.
Man, I really appreciate the opportunity and thank you for inviting me.
I'm a cartoon man. Like I love cartoons, and that's like the intro, man. That's the opening credits, and then the instrumental is the closing credits. That's just so awesome, man.
He's a webcomic newbie just finishing his 36th strip, and he brings us the adventures of Walter the Wicked. Mike Hearn, welcome to the Webcomic Show.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, Daniel. Good.
So tell me the story of how you thought up the names of your characters.
It's really a simple story. I mean, Walter kind of evolved from just me being a smartass, actually. There's a guy I talked to on Twitter, part of the Southern Fried Ink Slingers there, Walter Schuler. And he made some offhanded comment to he couldn't stop Monday from coming. And so then I replied, you make your sacrifices to Gozer, not Gonzo. I was just being a smartass on Twitter, and it went from there. And I thought, well, I got to draw that as a comic, and I wasn't even intending to do like a full series like I'm doing with Walter at that point. I just thought I've got to do this as a one-off, and I thought, well, Walter's great. Walter the Wicked's what is that called? An alliteration. And so that just, it all just kind of fell from there. And after I finished the first strip, I just felt like I had something bigger, and just took it from there.
What kind of challenges has creating this comic brought to you?
Time. Time is a huge challenge for this. When I started the strip, I was doing it very, very analog. I was drawing by hand, and then I was scanning the images. Actually, I didn't even have a scanner, so I had to take a photograph and then clean the photographs up, then I had to because I didn't have a tablet like I do now. I drew everything without looking at the screen and used a vector process. It was a nightmare of time. I've cleaned it up a lot, but it's still, this is something you would greatly understand. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have a full-time job. And I like to have some entertainment as well. And unfortunately, that's one of the biggest things. Anybody who's out there, if you're thinking of getting into webcomics, number one, I highly recommend it. If you've got the creative drive to do it, it's a lot of fun. It's a great community, at least the one that I'm part of. But be prepared. You're gonna have to give up something, and it's just the way that it works. So I don't get to play as many video games as I used to, and I quite enjoy video games. So it's all about what you need to do to get your creative outlet.
And what kind of input do you get? What are your what do you use to get for influences?
Mostly right now I'm kind of going back and forth between a story-based comic and a gag a day strip. What I'd like to do in the end is merge it into one, so that the gag a day element just kind of goes with the story base. So really there's two influences that are feeding that. There's the penny arcades and your comic there, Goober and Cindy, and Twixt and everything there is all spice of life, gag a day kind of stuff. So I try and work that in just because it's a good source for jokes. But then of course I'm also trying to dig into more of a fantasy element, so I guess Game of Thrones it would be a modern reference. Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not a D&D player, but just that world, that environment, just kind of trying to basically, like I say, I want to build it so that it becomes a very flowing narrative that also has each strip has a joke. That would be kind of my end goal.
Yeah, I understand that. Social media. What kind of social media do you use? What's your favorite?
I think Twitter is probably my favorite. I found Facebook frustrating lately. The everything that's been changed on Facebook with how your message gets delivered is incredibly frustrating. Like I'm all for companies making money. I like to make money myself, but the way they're handling it is just, it feels dirty and underhanded. I feel more like they're holding you hostage, whereas Twitter is, at least for the moment anyway, feels more community based. Like you put things up there and those who follow you see what you post. And so I'd have to say that those are the two big ones. I haven't got into the others yet. I haven't ventured into Reddit or Google Plus or any of those. And again, that really boils down to time.
Yeah. How long does it take you to create a webcomic? One panel or one?
It depends. It depends. It depends on the length of the strip. Like, because my strip varies wildly. I'll do anywhere from a 3 to 4, standard size strip to a full page like comic to even larger, like the Christmas strip and things like that. And an average 3 to 4 panel strip will take me from start to finish, including writing, 3 to 4 hours. So probably, I guess an hour per panel is probably a good way to say that. The larger strips kind of become a little bit more like for example, a 7 or 8 panel strip won't necessarily take me 8 hours, or it might take me more. It really depends on what's in it, what I'm drawing. So.
And what keeps you motivated to keep on doing it?
Right now, it's because it's fun. Yeah, so I mean, really, that's probably the greatest motivation, is that it's fun. But I've kept it as no secret that I want to do something more with Walter. I don't know what that means yet. That song that you gave me is definitely given me a lot more inspiration for what I'd really like to see it doing. Like I feel like Walter could be something more. What that means precisely, I don't know right now, but I'd love for Walter to be a movie or a television series, or, I think it feels like that world to me.
Do you listen to any music when you're drawing?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of video game tunes. You've probably heard of OC Remix.
No.
Okay. You need to look this up. I think it's just OCR. I'll send you the link. Anyway, it's a completely free music, completely free downloads, all MP3s, remixes in any style you can imagine of every video game song you can imagine. Awesome. Like, you pick your favorite theme from any video game. Somebody has done 7 different remixes of it, and it's excellent.
Wow. Oh, have there been any other webcomic artists that have helped you along the way?
My cousins at Twix have been a big help. You've definitely been a big support. That's about it. I'm still kind of breaking the surface there. Like I don't think I've been in this even for 6 months yet, so I'm a pretty new guy. But the community I've found on the whole is very supportive. There's the Facebook group that you're a part of as well, the Webcomic Creators, is a great resource. I've never felt any problems. You post something there, you ask a question, and you get 6 answers. You don't get 3 short-ass responses, one person telling you to do something vulgar and half an answer. Like it's a great little community. So,
speaking about your nephews or your cousins?
Cousins, yeah.
I got another link for you.
We're doing this live, Colin. We're doing this live. Has it started? Did we start?
Yes, you're started.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. You're our cousin, Mike, and you do a comic now, and we think that's adorable.
Oh, well, and you're a bit of a kid because you learn from everything that we did. You just capitalized.
Yeah, and then you know what you did? You went and you launched better than most webcomics because you had a proper backlog and fleshed out characters and story and a designed, well thought, planned out website, and we hate you for it. We really do. You're a bad person. You should feel bad. But Walter the Wicked is awesome. I like Walter the Wicked.
Yeah, we like him. We just don't like you.
We like what you created, but could you just maybe step away from it?
Yeah.
You think it'd make it better? Yeah? You think so?
We should probably do something nice.
Yeah. No, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did self-insert himself into the comic base. I mean, he's got Mike the Magnificent there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he serves Walter the Wicked. Is the Walter the Wicked really a metaphor for you? That your good self is serving your evil self? Oh, dude.
That's not really that deep.
Dude. Seriously, cuz you've done some really good work, and we like it. I liked it enough to fan art you in return for all the fan art you've done for us over time.
Many fan arts.
Keep doing what you're doing. We like it, and maybe do more of it, more per week. We're gonna push you to that since people push us to that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Start producing more.
Yeah. That's
Then
right.
maybe we won't be so hard on you.
Oh, what's your excuse right now, huh? It's not like you've got, like, a 4-year-old at home. Yeah. Yeah, deal with it. All right, cuz.
All right on. That was nice. Well, they're definitely like we mentioned before. Like they're a big influence in just kind of getting me into this. Like I've been drawing for eons now. I kind of got very heavily into it by about the age of 12, and considering I'm 34 now, that's a few years behind my belt there of putting pencil to paper. But I was always looking for something more regular to do with it, and everybody knows about comics, and it's not like it was any big secret. But when I watched them put up Twixt, and I enjoyed it, and they were doing it well, and the community they got into, it was a really big push for me to decide, I want to do this too. This is a world that I want to be a part of. So
what do you think is the key to create a great webcomic?
The key? That's a really good question. I think I'm a little too new to answer that for sure, but definitely the best thing that I can say is just to do it. That is the key. There kind of is nothing else. Like I don't have nearly as much time to read comics as I'd like, but I try and glance at a few, and some catches my eye. I'll go through a few of the archives, and I've seen everything under the sun. Some of it doesn't suit my interest, but they have a bigger following than me, and so clearly, just because it doesn't fit my interest doesn't mean that it doesn't work. So if you have an idea, the only way to get into it is to do it. That's about it.
I have a speed round of questions.
Sure.
Not webcomic related.
Okay.
Here we go. Favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Old or new?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. All time, I'll probably just have to say Avatar then.
The most famous person you've ever seen or met?
Probably John Rice Davies. I have the picture to prove it.
Are you a Star Wars fan?
I like it. I'm not really. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say fan.
And the last one, the first movie you've ever seen in the theater?
First one I remember seeing was the Transformers movie, the 1980s Transformers movie, and Optimus Prime died, and I cried.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you, Mike Hearn, for coming on the Webcomic Show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Daniel. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for watching the Webcomic Show. And if you would like to be on the Webcomic Show, contact me through the gooberandcindy.com contact page. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. Just look at the bottom of the website. So for the next interview, I will be traveling to a fellow Dutch artist called Wouter Goedkoop, and he does a comic called The Adventures of CPT Wayne. You should check that out. And don't forget to tune in for next season of the Webcomic Show.
Webcomic Show!
How you update every day, right?
Yes. Well, brand new comics Monday through Friday. And then I do what I call the classics Saturday and Sunday.
So 7 days a week you do an update.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's an obsession, man. I feel like I have to. When I first started, I was doing it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The requisite days that everybody recommends for doing a webcomic. But after a while, I would hate Tuesday and Thursday because I'm like, I don't have anything up. I'm like, I don't have anything up at all. I gotta have something. I was getting through the depression of like, I don't have new workout or there's nothing posted for today. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna do Tuesday and Thursday along with it, make it Monday through Friday. But I was scared. I'm like, well, can I do this? Because I'm bad when it comes to commitment. I'll say, oh yeah, I'll do this. I promise you, I'll give you a ride, and then I never show up. I'm that kind of guy. So I said, well, let me do something that I can commit to and kind of can adhere to my guidelines. So I waited until I had maybe 30, 40 comic strips in the can. I said, well, they weren't that hard to do. I mean, I've spent years just throwing them in the closet somewhere, throwing them in the drawer, and nobody saw them. So I'm like, well, I have them. Let me use them, put them out, and maybe I can keep the schedule going. And it wasn't that bad. And then after a while, I did that for a few months, and I was like, man, I hate weekends because I don't have any new comics posting on Saturday and Sunday. So I went 7 days a week, all new comics.
Wow.
Then I figured out, well, nobody really reads comics on the weekend because usually everyone likes to read them when they're sneaking around at work. It's easy. Like, I got to be here anyway, chained to a desk. I might as well do my Facebook and read some web comics. And then when you get home, people like to do stuff called life. So, and then after a while, I discovered nobody's reading on the weekend. So I'm like, I'm not putting any comics out on the weekends there, not any new ones at least. And then I still went through that, well, I don't have anything out. So I came up with a brilliant idea, I guess, to if I post classic comics on the weekend, I still have technically new updates for people for their RSS feeders, but I don't have to worry about wasting new material. I'm like, well, okay, I've got this. Did you read the one that came out Saturday? No. And people, myself, we like to read whatever's current. Unless you're really new or somebody that's really a fan, they're not going to do a lot of going back, climbing through the archives. Or they will, or they'll support you and think, oh, yeah, I love the comic. But you see what happened last month? No, not yet. I'll get to it. But we're an instant society. We want to see what's coming out now and waiting for what's for tomorrow. And I'm guilty of that, too. If I miss something, I have to almost make a Post-it note to tell me, okay, go back and check and see what's going on Goober and Cindy for the last week because I missed it by some chance. And it's a lot of comics out, and it's hard to keep up with everybody's. No matter you're there for them, you're full support. I love what everybody does, but sometimes it gets a little difficult to make yours and then catch up with everybody else's. But